I am back. Yeah, that last clip reminds me that I have been streaming for like 2 years now. Where does the time go? Into things like this. So what were we doing? We were throwing together some things to run the step function in a way where it would have the user ID available. So let's close render job because we're done with that. In stream ingestion, we have our step function. And we still have not solved the issue of this event isn't going to have the user ID, but we're kind of just focusing on this. So stream ID here. Okay, so these keys, stream ID with a capital I and no underscore, and user ID, those are what we're expecting the Lambda that is running the step function now to provide. And then we're aliasing them to user ID and stream ID with underscores, and that's what we're using here. And that event, the stream ingestion start, will make that available. And so then we can say user ID, detail user ID. Okay, so that will let us pass the user ID of the user that caused this stream ingestion process to start, right? So we can report back and tell the user, hey, this thing happened. So that's the easy part. That's the easy part. And I think we're done with API TS for now and AppStack. Okay, so for the others, right? So this one only really handles letting us know when the process is running. And we have these others that let us know when it's succeeded or failed or timed out or whatnot. Now, let's see. I have some options. One option would be, having a visual representation of what I'm talking about, I think is helpful, right? So the stream ingestion process is naming things is hard, but the idea is that this is a process that I run after the stream is done, and I have all the files of the recordings of the stream in S3. I can say, okay, here's where all the files are. Go ahead and do all of the analysis, silence detection, AI, speech to text, all the stuff, and then make sure all the records are annotated so that the stream record and individual records for the videos are all pointing at each other, and it's everything is connected and ready for the application to use. This is really important that this happens and it works right and stuff. And I think I have two options for what I need to do to get this to the point where when stuff happens in this process, it lets me know in the UI, is it running? Did it fail? Did it succeed? Is it done? Because right now what we're doing is we have a step right here at the beginning that handles the case of the process has started, right? So basically immediately when this step function is working through this workflow, it sends this event, right? And that's the part that we just changed, because we'll have the user ID because that's what we changed it to have when it starts, theoretically, assuming all this works. But if this fails, well, there's a couple of options. One would be I can add error handling in a few different ways to the steps, so that if something happens, I can say, oh, well, if this fails, go to this failure condition state, go over here, follow this line, and then we have a thing that sends an event. Now, if something happens because there are ways where the workflow will be oh, I can't go from here to here because this says the shape of the data is supposed to be a certain way, and it just fails. I don't think I can add error handling in the workflow to necessarily handle that. So to solve that problem, well, I've already solved that, right? Which is to have a thing that monitors for just the general state of the step function. So regardless of how the step function fails or succeeds, I get this event based on this event pattern, and I say, send it over to here. The problem is that I don't have a good way of massaging the information I have in the event to send it where it needs to go in this way. So just the process of explaining all this just helps me confirm in my mind that there isn't really a better way that's not like, you know, a way out of the way path to get to where I want to be than to add a Lambda function that is going to be the target of this event, and then the Lambda function will send the event after parsing the input of it, right? Because that's the issue, is that there isn't really a way for me to say, hey, send the user ID, parse the JSON from $.detail.input, and then get the user ID field from there. There's not a way in kind of the native capability of this, the event bridge, event handling logic to do that. So we make a Lambda. Again, we make a step function status event Lambda. Yep. Well, let's just start. We'll take the first parts of this. We're gonna say code Lambda. Someday I'll Lambda. Yeah, P and D are not. Wait, P and B are next to each other. Yeah, that's the thing. How do I like doing something like that? Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Oh, I actually wanted that code. Runtime will be Python again. We do not need the step function arm for this. Yeah, this should actually be. Let's go ahead and add our turn on tracing, log retention, logging, log format. Oh, that was something I missed from the other one. Why is true not assignable? I thought. Oh yeah, there you go. That's what it is. Log format dot JSON isn't assignable to logging format. I see. Why is there a logging format and a log format? It's so weird. What do we need here though? Yeah, how am I gonna do this? I'm gonna do this in a way that plays nicely with this existing stuff. I guess. I have a thought. So we already have a thing that listens for a custom event rule, a custom event with this pattern. We just do the same thing again. And so this Lambda just needs permission to send events. Yeah. Are we passing like an event bus to this? No. Okay, we're just doing doing everything on the default event bus. That's fine. Let's see. How do I give this permission? So we'll do step function. Yeah, add to role policy. No. Actions will be events. Is it event bridge put events? It could be. Let's see. Do I have that occurring elsewhere in my code base? No. I'm pretty sure it's not event bridge. I think it's just events. Yeah. All right, so this will let this Lambda function send whatever events it wants to send, which is fine. And then what we're gonna do is we're just adding a layer of indirection here, where what we're gonna do we'll come back to that. Let's go ahead and add new events.rule. This. Yeah. 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 Yep. Yep. And paste what I took from before. Oops. And then close that off. So status will be from detail.status. Ingestion is the right task type. Record ID, we'll expect this coming from there, and user ID. Okay, so that makes the type happy. So is this part correct? Accurate? Reflecting what I want to do? Yeah. So basically, we're going to have two kinds of events. One is coming from our task in the workflow, where it's called stream ingestion start. I could change that, right? I could change it to also have the same detail type, and then read the status, and then we could just get rid of one of these. Yeah, I think I like that. Let's do that. Make things simpler. After I just made it complicated, we can make it simpler again. Right? So this becomes status. And then we need a this is going to be running, right? To match what we had going on before. Right, so that step in the workflow that I just updated will also hit this event rule and will cause us to send the event to the task monitoring Lambda under the hood here. So then what we need to do is we need to say, hey, for this step function's execution status change for our step function, we want to target not task monitoring. We want to what does the code look like? I forget. It is new event targets.lambda function. There it is. And we don't have that imported, so let's do that. There we go. So this will be our Lambda. And this is nonsense. Can we just say send the whole thing? I think we can. Is this even required? No. The props is optional. So I think what this will do is that'll send the whole event of this type to our Lambda function. And then in our Lambda, what we need to do is we need to define I suspect we're not going to need some of those things, but it's thinking. No, that's wrong. What do we need? We need events. Probably don't need now. probably don't need most of, we need JSON. Okay, so let's so event here. What does this event look like? You know, let's do this. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna take this code. I think we're gonna try to deploy what we have as soon as I figure out where the other file is errored. Okay, so to let us deploy this, I'm gonna leave that like that. Ah, there we go. Missing the colon. I was like, didn't I have a thing to make it so it would highlight to-dos? Yeah, okay. So that should get it to the point where we can actually deploy what I have so far. And we can actually invoke the endpoint and see in our new Lambda here what the shape of the event is. We still need to deal with the YouTube uploader. This is going to have kind of a similar but different problem because the YouTube uploader is not invoked merely to process one user's uploads. The process exists to upload whatever videos are like queued up to be uploaded for multiple users. So we'll have to figure out how we're gonna like identify the user ID to send with the information about the task. But for now, get back to here. One thing I want to do before I forget. So there were a bunch of places where I added log retention. Maybe it wasn't a week though, or maybe we probably did not. We did import that AWS logs. Oh, here we go. Let's rename this to just be logs. There we go. Then it'll be consistent. So I just want to add this to all the places because I like JSON formatted logs. Now this is kind of what you would call a code smell, right? I have the same set of things. At least there's a pinch. Well, that's why it's called a smell, right? It's not definitively bad, but it's kind of odd that I have to define the same setting in a bunch of different places. Maybe there should be one place where the setting is coming from that's shared if everything really should have this setting. Now, that's the thing, is that true though? Maybe. I don't know. That's something that you just have to like weigh, right? Of like, is that true that every single place? And more to the point, if you did say, okay, well, I'm going to do like what I've done here, where I have this like Lambda service Lambda construct that gets shared. If I change that, that affects every place that uses it, right? So it better be the case that it's the kind of the metaphor, the idea of what the thing is changeable. If you want to change it in one place, it makes sense to change in all the places, right? I still have that. If I'm putting these settings separately in each of these places, then I can easily change one and it doesn't affect the others, right? So that is a trade-off of like, yeah, I can change it in one place, but that means I can also change it in one place. It's it cuts both ways. But anyway, let's go deploy all of this nonsense into AWS. See how it goes. And I don't think I'm gonna get to the working on the more automated deploy stuff today, because I do want to reserve some time as per the plan to work on setting up Godot and trying that out for really the first time ever. I have launched the application a couple of times. I've seen some streams and seen some YouTube videos, but I suspect I will not have retained much since I didn't actually practice. I didn't actually try to do any of those things that I saw people doing myself. So that is what we're going to do here in a little bit. But I do want to at least see this Lambda run so we can see the event that's coming through. Seven, 9 at 44. That's still pretty fast. Be slower. HTTP method must be specified for integration type AWS proxy. So when I created the new version of the stream endpoints, I missed some things. Let's hide all this. We're gonna assume that Lambda works. Well, I guess we're gonna find out actually, because that'll get hit first before anything else. So when we added this, what does it mean? HTTP method must be specified for integration type AWS proxy. How is this different from this? Path, methods, HTTP Lambda integration, right? Is that not talking about that? Fail to create event rule. This. Resource handler return message HTTP method must be specified for integration type AWS proxy. API Gateway v2 status code 400. Very odd. Is it talking about here? It's difficult to... Yeah, API, HTTP, API, post something. Method must be specified for integration type AWS proxy. What does it mean? It doesn't seem substantially different than the other things that I have here. is that the problem? Could this be like a let's just look in the console. At the end of the day, formation. At the end of the day, all this stuff is a wrapper around AWS CloudFormation, which is doing the work of making all the changes happen. So sometimes it's just good to just look in CloudFormation and see what happens. So during the rollback, we deleted a bunch of stuff. So you have to kind of scroll back. If you look at the list of events that happened, so create failed, update failed. Okay, so all of these are like, oh, the process was canceled because something else failed. So hey, and we even have a likely root cause, right? Of so API, HTTP API, post, stream ingestion, integration, and some numbers, right? So service API Gateway v2, HTTP method parameter method must be specified for integration type AWS proxy. That is odd. So odd. Right? Because is this something where I'm just thinking this might be an issue where it's trying to do an update, right? Right. So it says it tried to do an update, the update failed. Although, oh yeah, this is permissions, right? So it's trying to update this existing endpoint, and I wonder if this is an issue where it can't figure out how to update this because we're changing the kind of endpoint that it is, the integration. Did the name of this change, this integration, as part of this? No. So let's do this. I think what might be good is to rename this. I know, let's call it stream ingestion integration 2. Now my hope is by changing the name of it, it will jiggle something that will cause this to work right. Is the technical term there, jiggle. So yeah, go ahead and do that.
I saw it when I walked.
Now the good and the bad of this is that this process of deploying, as you might have observed in the events here, like after it failed to update, it canceled all the other stuff that it was trying to create or change, and then it started to roll back. In other words, it started to and did update all the things that had previously updated to change them back to the way they were before the deploy started, right? So anything it created, it deleted. Anything it updated back. And so it did a full rollback. And so that's really nice in a way, because hey, if something goes wrong and you and it fails, it unwinds it back to the way it was before, generally speaking. And I feel like that works pretty well. There are some edge cases where it maybe doesn't, because it's challenging. There's all these different kinds of resources and a big enough application that may take some time to roll back as well. Yeah, there you go. Now it's creating. Oh, I think that might have fixed it. We'll see. But the downside, of course, is that now when I try to deploy again, it has to redo all the changes for the deploy. Right? So, I guess what I could have and maybe should have been doing today is, as we've been making changes and it looked like maybe it would be okay to actually start doing just like deploy as I go. So we would also potentially get more feedback if like not everything that is expressible in the Cloud Development Kit in TypeScript is necessarily going to actually work. It's not, it is in a way a domain specific language for it being like this TypeScript or Python or whatever language you're using with the Cloud Development Kit, domain specific language for defining AWS infrastructure, but it is not something where every bit of syntax is necessarily type checked. There's strings that are significant, various things. So, and rules that are like, oh, this name of this resource can't be more than this many characters. That might not be something that gets checked by the CDK before deploy time. So it can be really good to like get quicker feedback by just deploying more often, if you can. So anyway, I knew it was successful as soon as I started seeing things be deleted, because that's what it does at the end of like, oh, I needed to recreate this thing because of changes that I couldn't do via an update, so it made a new thing and needed to delete the old things, or maybe there was just stuff I removed. It does those deletes at the end. So now let's go over to the front end and actually test this out. Oh, let's see. It'd be really cool if I had a thing here that said whether or not one of these streams have been ingested. I'm going to guess, though, that last week's... Oh, I probably haven't imported last week's stream. Let's do that. Oh, okay. Well, maybe not. That's fine. Let's do 2 weeks ago. And, oh, I don't have a bulk option for that. Maybe I should. That's fine. We'll go into the record. And I click ingest videos. And then it's just like a confirmation of what I want to provide. I already know that something is going to be wrong here, because I think in our new Lambda that we added, we are only passing... No. We are taking the whole event body, right? No. We need more. So let me look at the front end really quick. Where are we calling? What's this? What is internals.ts? Oh, it's the mock. Right. Where are we calling? Where is the stream? Oh, I think I've ingestion. Oh yeah, there we go. Ingest stream videos button. Oh, this was fun. So this was a component where I wrote a big comment explaining what the requirements were, and then I just had Copilot read out from. I mean, I guess I do that a lot, but I took it really far that time of how I wanted it to work. Anyway, I just want to see. So we have this initial prompt, and we call stream ingest with stream ID, initial prompt, initial summary. So I think, yeah, initial summary, there we go. Missing required fields. And then we just need to add those to there. Okay, so let's deploy again. I caught it before I even tried to run test the function. Good for me. See how long this takes to deploy. Got some yawns this morning. the different total times here? So synthesis time, so it's like us compiling all the TypeScript and creating the CloudFormation templates that define like what the application is that's going to be deployed, and then front end stack. There were no changes to the deployment, half a second. Total time is the summing of those two. And there's not like another synthesis thing here, so I guess it does the synthesis across all the stacks. Right, so the front end stack is of course like the hosting for the front end. Repo stack is like all of the repositories for the Docker images for the backends. And app stack is then the rest of the application, and it completed in a minute. So if I click proceed now, yay, internal server error. All right, what did I break? Let's see, what's been updated recently? Start stream ingestion state machine. So this is the thing that should be run when the API is called. And so if we go to the monitor tab, I would expect a dot here, although it may take a minute for stats to appear. We could also look at CloudWatch logs. Those should be there faster. I feel like that's true in my experience. Hey, look, there are logs. Although maybe if I go back to the Lambda at this point and refresh. Nope, okay. So stream ingestion start state machine Lambda. Oh yeah. So this is like I found, this sounds ominous. Found credentials in environment variables. This is just Boto, which is the AWS SDK for Python, saying that it found a way to be able to like authenticate with AWS. All right, so there was an unhandled exception because things. Object of type datetime is not JSON serializable. So body JSON dumps response. Interesting. We can turn around changes more quickly if I just edit the Lambda in place. So I tried to. Is it this line 49 that had the error? Whoops. 53 body dumps response. That makes sense. Also, that means I think the step function did actually, like, we got this far and we ran it. So we'll have to look at the step function here in a second. The error here is because we're taking the response from the AWS SDK call and we're trying to turn it back into JSON and return it. I don't think that the previous version did that. Like, that wasn't the behavior that we had before. I think what I will do is I'm just going to do something where we change this to be like the ID is something like this, and that should fix that issue. So I'll not change the Lambda in place. Let's go look at the step function, which should have been started. Stream ingestion. Yeah, there we go. It's running. So it's input. We do have a user ID, and this is my user ID. You can't have it. And then, so we would have sent a start event. And so here, yeah, we do have the user ID. And that should mean that if I go back to Lambda and I find the new Lambda that is the thing that receives events about step functions. Here we go. Stream ingestion step function status event Lambda. We should see that it has been run. And even no errors. All right, so that means a couple of things. So one, we can look at the log, so we can see what did it log. Probably not a lot, just like right. The point of this was we wanted to see what the shape of the event was. So here's the shape of the event. Here's all the details, right, of what's in there. So one of the things I wanted to look at was the input. There it is. So we can see here was the input to the step function. And it has our stream ID and our user ID in there. So in the new Lambda that we made here, one of the things we know is that the event is an object. It has various pieces of information. Let's do input equals JSON.loads. Copilot is really insistent that this Lambda is receiving an SNS event, right? I think that's a super common, like if you were to survey all the code out there for Lambdas, that's probably a really common thing to do, but not what we're doing. So not applicable. Input. Also, I really don't like the indentation there. So I think what we're gonna do with this, because this Lambda is started by an event, we're just gonna fail. Like if we fail to parse the JSON, the key's not there, whatever it is, it's gonna throw an exception, and that's fine. We're not gonna handle it and try to return, or log something special. We're just gonna let exception handling do its thing. We're going to build a new event to not conflict with the name of the payload. Think about what that is. Let's see. What do we need to do? I think we just need to do like events.put events. There we go. Entries, source, detail type, details. There we go. Yep. Yeah. Resources. No. That extra there, and I don't think we need to return anything from this Lambda, right? We just need to put an event, and this is the right source. It needs to align with what we're expecting elsewhere, and stream ingestion status is the detail type that we're putting out. Maybe not. Where's our code? Step ingestion, stream ingestion. Okay, there we go. And detail, stream ID, user ID. These are wrong. So when we are looking at this event, what are the things we need? We do need name, status, time. Time is going to come from EventBridge. We're not putting that there. We don't have to worry about task type. The thing that's receiving the events is going to know that that's what that is. So we need name and status. And those could be accurate. So if we look at this, right? So status is a top level key right there running. And name is also there. Okay. So name is what we're going to be using to identify all the events from this step function are for the same task, right? So that's how we group them together, is by that name field. So this should be right. And if I deploy this, that should be that. So the thing that we still need to do, in fact, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to our set of things to do. Here you can see we have a bunch of things. Well, we have one other top level thing to do here, which is to add the WebSocket URL to our environment settings, so the front end, when it's actually deployed, knows where to talk to it. Locally, I have a .env file that's pointed to the right thing, but we need to update the environments in GitHub. So we've kind of broken down this task effectively into subtasks, where the first one was, what was the first thing we updated? It was the render job. And then the second one is the thing that we've been working on now, which is stream ingestion and Ingestino. And then the third one is the YouTube uploader. Those are the three things, right? And so I think we've done the first one and the second one. We still need to do the third one. Okay, deploy is done. So this one, do we, I think we just have one rule here, right? Yeah, which is looking for events from this source. Interesting. We have the user ID. Actually, this wouldn't necessarily be too bad. Let's see. Where else are the where else is that coming from? Notify success state. Episode ID. Where is notify success state being used? Mark as uploaded state. Okay, so we're updating the record. That means we probably have the record. Like we're uploading one episode at a time. The episode should have the user ID on it. In fact, we're definitely doing things with the user ID here. I think the only thing that this needs is we need to have the episode or the user ID of the episode in the state that's being passed to the step function, so that when we emit this kind of event, it has the user ID, and so we can pass that on. So I think what I'm gonna do here though is we're gonna put a pause in this. For today, I'm gonna say we're done with working on Glowing Telegram. We're gonna commit kind of progress so far. Let's see, we didn't do anything in the front end. We didn't do anything in the video editor. What did we do here? Oh, we reformatted and cleaned up things. Let's go ahead and make a separate commit for that. Clean up code formatting, yep. And then render job. We had a user ID. Let's see, in task monitoring. I think I need to commit all of these together because they all go together in terms of like adding one without the other breaks things. The WebSocket API stuff is kind of independent though. Was there any other files that I updated with the gist that were touched by the logging changes? No. Okay. So let's commit. Yep. Cool. And then the rest of this is add user ID handling and propagate to render job and stream ingestion processes. Still need to update the YouTube upload job. Okay, I'll push those up. So those are in my issue 419 pull request. And then what I'm going to do, something I haven't done in quite a while, we're going to close this workspace. Goodbye. And what are we doing from here? Well, I'm going to take a break here. And when I return, we are going to fire up Godot. We're going to we're going to figure out what that's all about and go from there. Drawing with the trackball is kind of interesting. Anyway, yeah. So let me close down some tabs, and yeah, I might actually just need to do like a separate browser window with tabs just for the game dev stuff. We'll see how that shakes out. But yeah, let's see. Let's bring this over. We're gonna update, populate. Okay, save. So that should update the stream title. There we go. Bam. For those, hey, some behind the scenes and stuff before I take that break. So this is the thing that we've been working on for like a year. Part of it is the stream manager, which I showed earlier that I added a new stream series in this. So this lets me, I just clicked save and it updated the stream title on Twitch, which is neat. And I'll add some more tags as we figure out what we're doing. But yeah, so that's a little peek behind the scenes. And so yeah, I'm gonna take a break here for 3 minutes so that Twitch can run ads. And when we come back, we are going to figure out some Godot and some really beginner step game dev stuff. So